So, oh, god damn, fucking, let me change the fucking color of the thing, please. Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. The world is both fantastic and awful. It's fantastic because it's huge, it's full of things to do. And like, you know, you've got characters, you've got side characters, you've got just random pedestrians, you've got story and lore to the world. Because you're 100 years past the story it feels like they kind of wanted to tell. And so there's all that time that has passed, and for things to become overgrown, for things to become destroyed. But as far as the world relates to the game itself, it's not pointless, but the world and its exploration don't matter that much. The shrines are good, because you find the shrines, and then you get more health, more stamina, and that helps you get through the game. The enemies, they're little camps where you can find chests, and some of them you have to kill all the enemies to get, are basically pointless. Because it's a rare day that you actually need enemy drops. Otherwise, the enemies are just going to drop weapons. Those weapons are going to break, and you're going to replace them with the weapons that other enemies drop when you kill them. And this problem lies more in the gameplay, but the problem with the gameplay extends into the world design. But otherwise, the world's great. It's got the Koroks. Look for a bunch of those. They have 900 of them, twice the amount you actually need. That way, you can find only the ones you want to find. You can just find the few along the way, and you're not stuck finding, you know... Like, imagine if you needed 450 to max out your inventory, and they had 460. In a world that large. That'd be dog shit. Even if they had 500. It would suck, because you'd be stuck looking for those last, like, looking for 10 out of the last 30. And in a world that huge, when you've already explored so much and you've already covered so much ground, fucking impossible to find. So, the number of Koroks, I'd say, is a good design. The actual rewards you get for exploring, not that good. Because it's just going to be a breakable weapon, or it's going to be a small amount of rupees that don't really matter in this game. Maybe it'll be a piece of armor you'll never use. And I think the problem is more just, you can't make every bit of exploration in a world this large be that important. And I think that's why they broke the rewards down so much. You know, you need 4 shrines to get 1 heart or stamina vessel. You need more and more Korok seeds as you get inventory slots, to the point where I needed 12 for 1 weapon slot. Or, like, outfit pieces take several hundred rupees, because if you explore for a bit and you mine, you're going to get that money easily. If you fight monsters and you open their chests and they contain money, you'll get that money fairly easily. So I think the world, in terms of what's actually there, it's fantastic. In terms of rewarding the player for interacting with it, not so much. So it's good. It's got a lot to it. It's great to explore it, but you're exploring it more for the sake of exploring it and seeing things rather than getting something out of it. Story-wise, I think the game, it does more than most Zeldas do. Because most Zeldas keep things very simple. And this still does, but I think it goes a tiny bit further. And I kind of appreciate that. Not enough Link plunging the Master Sword into fucking... to Zelda's Temple of Time. But yeah, story-wise, there's a lot I like about it. And there are moments that genuinely give me chills, which is rare. I think the few games that have done that are like Kingdom Hearts 2, because I played that as a kid, and so it still hits me the same way. Persona 5, because that game is great. And this. I can't think of others. So, there's a lot of good stuff in the story. There's a lot of very solid writing. Dagoth, Pokemon doesn't have a story. It has an idea that they've been running into the ground for the past 25 years. You're a 10-year-old. Fucking go do whatever the fuck. Yeah, calm down there, Destiny player. Why don't you go revive Nathan Fillion again? But yeah, there's a lot. Max, I realize that Kingdom Hearts 2 is trash. And Persona 5 is actually a good game. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But yeah, like the writing for Zelda, I think, is really good. But then Zelda isn't in the rest of the game. She's watching you the whole time. Zero... That doesn't matter for gameplay. Doesn't matter. No, but see, Max, here's... Let me find you a picture of it. Oh, shit. Apparently doing something. Well, let me move forward so I'm not accidentally hitting things. Was it Persona 2? I think it might have been Persona 2. Yeah. So Persona 2 has a character named the Führer. And this is him in the original version of the game. And then in the PSP version, they censored it a little bit. They removed a lot of the imagery of the Nazis. And so they did this to him. And were it not for Persona, we would never have Adolf Hitler wearing sunglasses. And smiling. I sent it to you, Max. I mean, I can show it on stream, but fuck. I'm just sending it to you. Let me pull it up then. Yeah, were it not for Persona, we wouldn't have Sunglasses Hitler. And... Fuck yeah, Sunglasses Hitler. Looks so fucking stupid. It's amazing. But yeah, like, the writing for Zelda, really good. But then she's not in the game. She sits in Hyrule Castle for 100 years. And even, like, Ganon as a villain isn't present in the game. The blights are there. And you could argue that that's Ganon. But that's not Ganon himself. Ganondorf, in Ocarina of Time, is a persistent character throughout the game. You know, he shows up near the beginning, he shows up chasing Zelda out of the town, he shows up when you fucking head to the future. He fucking kills Phantom Ganon and banishes him from existence when you beat him in the Forest Temple. Like, that Ganondorf has presence in the game. He's a villain with presence. Ganon, Calamity Ganon, is over in the castle. He's over there. You can look at him. Shows up sometimes. Big and spooky clouds. There's malice everywhere. That's not Ganon. Ganon isn't a part of the game. Ganon is a part of the ending. And even just the wasted potential of Link dying to some Guardians. And not during the assault on fucking the castle. Like, have Link fight some form of Calamity Ganon, fail, and then get put in the Shrine of Resurrection, so that we can have our adventure be the rematch. Our adventure be us preparing to right the wrongs of the last 100 years. I feel like that'd just be so much more impactful. And instead, we get... No, Guardian, And it is also nice to see Zelda, you know, gaining her power not through just praying to goddesses. And in a sense, it kind of implies that the goddesses have abandoned the world, which, I don't know. It seems like a neat idea to me. But instead gaining it through protecting the ones she cares about. And there is, like, through the short story content there is in the memories, there is a genuine arc for Zelda. But why don't we have that arc through the game? And I realize normally you would discover the little bits and pieces, and it's like, oh, there's a memory, rather than doing them all in a row. But, you know, you're going to have players who do them all in a row. You're going to have players who find one and then don't find the rest of them. You're going to have players who go straight to the castle because they said that was the thing you could do. And I think that might be why the story is so bare. Because they knew some players weren't going to find a lot of it. So they wanted to make sure the rest of the game was up to quality, which, for the most part, it is. Yeah, like, it's... I really like certain parts of this game's story. It just isn't enough of the game for me. Characters, they're alright. Zelda's got good writing. Link is once again Link. My OBS window is flickering and that's scaring me. What else? Beetle's back. Tingle is not back, so worst game ever. The champions are all quite unique. Urbosa's great, Daruk's great. Rivali's an asshole. But there's like the hintings of depth to Rivali. But he's also an asshole, so I don't care. Mipha, I think, has some of the worst voice acting in the entire game. And there's that beautiful thing of just another Link, for some reason, has something of a love interest with a fish. I don't know who at Nintendo wants to fuck fish. But they need to stop. To cut it out with their fish fetish. Keep it out of my Zelda, I swear to God. But yeah, character-wise, it's that same problem of just the champions aren't really in the game. The most they do is you clear the Divine Beast, and then just like, Daruk's protection is ready to roll. Rivali's Gale is once again ready. Fucking whatever Mipha and Urbosa say. That's the most presence they have in the game. Other than that, you get... Let me think. 1, 2, 3... Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Maybe 6 cutscenes with them in it. And 5 of those 6 cutscenes are very short. The rest is like the discussions you have with them after you clear the Divine Beast. And even those aren't that long. So, like, I like the characters. The game does not use them nearly as much or as well as they should. Gameplay-wise, I really appreciate that they put more thought into the combat than usual. You got different weapon types. You got different different enemies. The enemies rank up, so they're still, you know, decently present. And it's not just, oh, Red Bokoblin. Eat 60 damage. Die in 1 hit. And they've got, like, mini-bosses throughout the world. The Stone Taluses. The, Keenoxes. The Lynels, even though they don't get a big health bar. The Stalnoxes. What other mini-bosses are there? I don't remember. Oh, fuck. Molduga. That's it. Yeah, there are 4 mini-bosses in the game. But then you also have, like, the Guardian types. You've got the standard enemies. You got Keese, you got Choo-Choos. Like, the Wizzrobes. And the Blizzrobes. And the... I don't remember what the fire ones are called. Because each of them has, like, an upgraded version with a punny name. But yeah, the enemy count is a bit low for my liking, because a lot of it is just like, it's a gold Lionel. And from what I've seen, Breath of the Wild seems to improve on it. Well, not Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, which I'm looking forward to. Because they even... I think in one of the trailers they showed off, like, a fucking Gleeok, which I want to say hasn't been in the series since the first one. And that's interesting to me. But yeah, there's just that big problem of, like, the durability only exists because you'd get far too many weapons otherwise, and there'd be no reason to use so many of them. And the Master Sword would outclass everything. But then exploring doesn't matter because you're probably just going to find weapons. Otherwise you find armor, and that can be genuinely helpful. Otherwise you find money, which can be genuinely helpful. Otherwise you find food, but that just leads back into combat where you're going to break your weapons. So, like, I don't know. It's got really good bits, but it's held back by a lot of fluff. And, like, the shrines... How many shrines in the game are just a chest and then the monk? Breath of the Wild Blessing Shrines. I don't know how to check this. But with the DLC, there's 136 shrines. Thankfully, none of them are... Oh, let's see. Okay, I might be able to... 1... 2... This give... Okay, so that's 3. Probably 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 7, 38. So up to 38 of the shrines in the game, out of 120 for the base game, because the DLC ones are all actual puzzles. Up to 38 of 120 shrines in the game are you have done a quest, or you found it, you enter it, there's a chest, there's the monk. That's it. On top of that, there are 20, if I remember correctly, tests of strength. Almost half of the shrines in the game are either nothing or a fight with the same enemy. But they do maybe some higher damage, and they have maybe 1 or 2 more attacks. The other 60 shrines are pretty good. They never reach the level of puzzle solving that I feel they ought to, because the devs have no way to know whether or not you've reached an easier puzzle that teaches you a mechanic. But at the same time, that should be a good thing. It should be good that you find a shrine and you're like, oh wow, I don't know how to do this. I'll come back to this later. And then you do, and then you solve it, and it's like, wow, the game taught me things. I learned something. But instead, because they want players to be able to finish a shrine the moment they find it, they can't do that. It has to be instantly solvable, purely with the tools you've had since the very start of the game. And those intro shrines are the only time they teach you mechanics. And if they were just willing to get a little deeper with the gameplay, like the ability to use stasis on an object, launch the object, and take yourself with it, that should be a shrine. That should be a shrine. That should teach the player something. The tiny little unique things the players figure out, I wish the game just gave you breadcrumbs towards finding those out. But it doesn't. And so the game ends up feeling not like a Ubisoft game necessarily, where it's just this big open world with checklists to fill, because there's no checklist. The checklist is find some shit and do it. Find a shrine, complete it. Find a quest, do that quest. The menu can be a bit of a checklist, but that's just how tracking progression is going to feel. But it's that Ubisoft level of exploration where it's just, I am just moving from place to place. I'm not digging deep into the world, because the most I'm going to find is a Korok, or a cool weapon that's going to break, or some armor, or some money. But on the surface level, the amount of exploration you can do, the amount of space you can explore, and the things you can find, the things you can potentially find, not necessarily the things you actually find, but the sights you'll see, the fights you'll get into, the moments you'll have, can be really good. And it's that can that's the problem. So, like, it's not perfect. It's a lot of fun. You can spend a lot of time with it. It's good. It's not great. Good. Not that to a 6.5. Music isn't present enough, I feel, and I understand why. You wouldn't want constant music going on in the woods. And they have like that one piano loop, or that one piano tune that plays just like do 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 do. It's out in the wilderness every 5 hours or some shit. I don't fucking know. And that's good. And the music that is in the game is quite good. When you get into a fight with a guardian, it's a specific tune. When you get into a fight in the wilderness, it's a specific tune. During some of the story beats, there's great music going on. When you're assaulting Hyrule Castle, there's great music going on. And when the music is present and it's changing between tracks, it's wonderful. But so much of the game is nature sounds and eerie silence. Well, not eerie silence, but nature sounds and silence. That the music is really good, but it's not there enough. Lengthwise, the game's great. It is paced out entirely based on your own interests. You want to explore more? Go explore more. You want to find more shrines? Go find more shrines. We got 120 of them. You want Korok seeds? 900 of those bad boys. Search to your heart's content. And even outside of, you know, the actual specific things to complete, you can fight Lynels. You got Blood Moons to reset Lynels. You can fight the mini-bosses. You can fight just random enemy camps. There's a lot to explore, there's a lot to find, but it's only the amount of stuff you want to do. The pure amount of things you have to do to finish the game, 4 Divine Beasts. Actually, no, not even that. You can go straight to Ganon. You don't need to do the 4 Divine Beasts. You don't need to get the Master Sword. You don't need to do a single shrine. The pacing is entirely up to the player. If you are tired of the game, if you are sick of it, and you just want it over, you can just get it over with. And the way the mechanics are all designed, the climbing, the buffs you get from the different champions, all give you ways to skip parts of Hyrule Castle, potentially. You don't want to be in a fight? Use Urbosa's Fury. Finish off that fight quick. Or just run away from it. Rivali's Gale gets you way up the castle. Miva's Grace saves you in a tight spot. Dirk's Protection keeps you safe. With the other 2 that are more sort of defensive utilities. But, you know, 1 offensive, 1 exploration, 2 defense. Fair enough. But yeah, so it's... The pacing and length of the game is entirely up to the player. I think perhaps the only problem with the pacing comes up is, once again, those story moments. Because the most you get is a photo. And so if the player doesn't care about the shrines, if the player only cares about fighting Ganon, getting the story, doing the Divine Beasts, they still have to just run around. Because they don't know the world. They still have to find those things. And the most hints you're going to get are from finding the painter guy at the different stables, which, if you know about that, fantastic. You can get a great hint in the right direction to take you where you need to go. So the game has these things to keep the pacing tight. But then it also tells the player, you want to do 200 hours of fucking around? Go for it. So I think lengthwise, outside of those potential pacing issues when it comes to the memories, the length is great, because if you enjoy the game, there's tons of game. If you don't enjoy the game that much, just want to finish it, you can. And a lot of the challenge of, like, going and fighting Ganon immediately, that's up to the player. Now, once you learn those fights, because you have to fight the Blight Ganons up in the castle. Once you learn those fights, not that bad. And because you start the game with every tool you end the game with outside of your weaponry, those Blights are as fightable at the very start of the game when you just leave the plateau as when you are right before fighting Ganon. So, kinda works out. Jank. I still feel like this game has that level of Nintendo polish where you don't really run into that much jank. There's the occasional thing, like earlier today, when my my sneak attacks were just whiffing, despite going straight through the enemy. You'll have weird things with horses sometimes, you'll have weird things with enemies. Climbing can be a bit strange sometimes, but for the most part, it's got that Nintendo polish that keeps things feeling well-designed, even if it is not perfect. So, really, game's pretty low on the jank. Quite nice. DLC-wise, the DLC that was added to this game did give a fair amount of content, and it gave some actually decent rewards. Recharge the champion powers faster. Very handy. It makes Rivali's Gale take... Oh wait, let me actually test that. How quickly does Rivali's Gale come back? We'll quickly give that a test. Fresh off of using up your charges. It takes 45 seconds? Wow. How much does Mipha's Grace take? Okay, that didn't kill me. I'm sure I could just look up these numbers, but that would be too easy. Oh, that did some damage. Alright. Killed myself? How long does it take? 2 minutes, 40 seconds. A full health recharge and bonus hearts every 2 minutes and 40 seconds once you finish the DLC. So difficulty-wise, this game does not have any. But yeah, like getting the Divine Beast powers back faster, very nice. Because they're powerful, they feel good, they're fun to use, they're helpful.
Rivali's Gale is now ready.
Shut up, bird. The Master Cycle Zero, very cool. To the point where usually when I go through the game, I bum rush straight to it. I just want the motorbike, and then I'm just biking through Hyrule. It's great. Otherwise, Trial of the Sword, power up the Master Sword, make it more useful. And I think it even, I want to say it gets more durability, which is very nice. Breath of the Wild Master Sword. Durability. Other than that, you've got neat little references to, previous games through the outfits they added. And also, I'm trying to read a thing. You've also got the amiibo items, which is the different outfits from the previous games, which is super cool. Because if you want to go running around Breath of the Wild's Hyrule as Ocarina of Time Link, and a great-looking Ocarina of Time Link at that, go right the fuck ahead. Otherwise, Twilight Princess Link, Skyward Sword Link, Classic Link. You want a Link? Fucking it's here, my guy. They're yours to use. And then there's also just really useful things like the Ancient Saddle, I think? Ancient Saddle? Ancient Bridle? Letting you summon a horse anywhere. Let me find the exact list of DLC items. Where to find all the new stuff? Where? There's also Midna's helmet. Oh, fuck. Damn. How about that? But the travel medallion. Super cool. Place your own fast travel point. That is great. You want to save a grinding spot in case you want to go back there later? Save it. You want to make a quick trip off to a shop to pick up some more arrows? Do it. You can just teleport back. It's fantastic. I need... find the other DLC items, though. I think that's just the first one.
Mipha's grace is ready.
And also just the DLC adding hard mode outside of the enemies' health regenning, which I consider to be fucking offensive. The ancient bridle and saddle. Here we go. Oh, there's also the island lobster shirt. Nice. There's a Korok mask, which it'll, like, jingle whenever you're near a Korok. Can be very handy. The ancient bridle increases the speeds of your horse and teleports it from anywhere on the map. Goddamn. Oh, wait, here we go. Saddle can be used to teleport the horse to you no matter where they are on the map. You only need to whistle as you would for a normal horse summon. And then, the bridle increases the abilities of a horse and adds 2 additional spurs to their stamina meter. So if you like horses, DLC can be very handy. And it gives more stuff to explore and find, and it's lovely. Yeah, so it looks like the Master Sword gets about 5 times the durability. Yeah, so it only takes a 5th the durability damage. Keeps the same durability. But yeah, like the... It's wild. Oh, interesting. There's a durability transfer that you can do. Weird. But yeah, no, it's very neat. And also just the game having, you know, the Hylian shield hidden away is a neat little detail. Unrelated to the DLC. Yeah, the DLC for the game, I think, is quite neat, and it adds more to the before the Calamity story. And that is mostly where the game was feeling a bit limp. But I don't want it added to some cutscenes that show more from the past. I want stuff about it to be in the present. I want to interact with things. I want the story around me. I want to be in it, not watching it from afar. So, like, I don't know. I think the DLC is quite good for the game. Trial of the Sword's very neat, because it's almost just combat puzzles. But I don't think the series has really done that much. This combat's usually been a joke. The biggest combat puzzle they'll throw at you is just, hey, here's 3 Dark Nuts, have fun. But all in all, Breath of the Wild is an absolutely massive game that is perfect for just throwing a podcast on while playing and just exploring the wild. But when it comes to its story, when it comes to the minutia of it, the fine details of its design, there's a lot of things that just chip away at it until it falls apart. Because of that, in terms of actual genuine quality, in terms of is this game a masterpiece? No. It's a 7 out of 10. But goddamn, I am perfectly happy putting 250 hours into this 7 out of 10. It is one of my favorite 7 out of 10s. It's not perfect, nowhere near it. But it's enjoyable. It's got stuff to do, stuff to find, stuff to fight. And sometimes that's all you need. The same reason, you know, I enjoyed Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It had stuff to do, it had characters, it had some writing. It had just enough of everything to be a lot of fun, to be enjoyable, and for me to be happy to put a ton of time into it. But it's not perfect. This is better than Ubisoft's games. I like this more, even if... I mean, Odyssey had a bit more depth to its combat with different abilities. But I think just that level of polish and the level of genuine care and time put into the world really helps this game. And on some level, the isolation is neat. Because Ubisoft games never feel... You never feel isolated. You're fighting people. You're fighting, or you're talking to people. You're in cities full of people. This game, it really feels like the wild is there. Like nature is there. Like you're out in the unknown. And I think that can be a tough thing to capture. And I think they did a great job on that. But yeah, 7 out of 10. But a very, very fun 7 out of 10. Very enjoyable. I like it. All that ranting just to say that I like it. Yeah, there we go. That sums it all up. Is fun. Yay. Yeah, that'll be it for me today. It's 2 a.m. and I don't want to play several hours of fighting games potentially. Or do anything else. I want to get out of this costume and then throw it in a fire. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep the costume. But either way, thank you to everyone who stopped by. Have a good one. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.